Welcome to the Nightly Rant. I'm Mike.
And I'm Toria.
This is the show where we talk about the awful things that have happened in our day, the awesome things that have happened in our day,
and all the things in between.
Thanks for listening, and we truly hope you enjoy.
Hey everyone, so for today's episode, we have a special throwback because something happened and we were unable to record an episode, and we want you to have an episode 5 days a week. So we hope you enjoy this special throwback episode that we have chosen for you.
So yesterday was a really crazy day.
Yeah, crazy is one way you could describe it.
I mean, there's nothing like working for a couple of years on an issue and coming down to one day and you put it in the hands of a bunch of random strangers that you don't really know, but you've tried to get to know over that time. It was pretty weird and crazy.
Yeah.
But now that
it was what it was.
But now that it's behind us, we can finally talk a little more openly about something that's been bothering both of us for a while, and that is we continually get asked questions why there are so many different Cypress community groups on Facebook. And there's really only one real answer to that, and that's that the admin of the main Cypress community group, the biggest one, has major issues with how she runs her group, and it chases people away. So today, we have a guest, and she's going to talk with us about that topic, and her name is Gina. Gina, are you there?
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Well, thanks for joining us tonight on the Nightly Rant, and we're going to just have you tell us a little bit about your experience with the other community group and what brought you basically to our community group.
So I seldomly engage in any discussion in any community group Facebook page, but recently I saw a post where this lady was kind of venting about how it was treated at one of the businesses in nearby area. And as soon as she posted that, I saw a lot of comments from, I'm assuming these are the friends of the admin, some of the other group, just attacking this poor lady. And I really wanted to step in and say, hey, you guys need to calm down and let her tell her story before attacking her. And because I defended someone that they did not with, I got kicked out of the group. And I thought this could be. And I was searching for another community group where I could share my story. And luckily, I found your page and another page where I could, where I realized that there were a lot of cases like mine where people were kicked out unfairly.
Now, have you, during your time on the other group, did you ever see other people treated in that manner?
You know what? It was hard. That's hard to say because all the rude comments coming from her is through the private message.
Right.
So I'm pretty sure she did attack other people who she did not agree with. But I did notice that a lot of comments or a lot of posts that she didn't agree with would get deleted constantly, like really very quickly. So I always thought that was odd. But yeah. Go ahead.
And now something funny is she's turned on post approval. So now people can't even post comments in her group that she doesn't agree with.
Which I think is absolutely hilarious because, you know, as we all know, her and her family, they would go on other people's pages and just blast on attacking other people using profanities, which, by the way, are not allowed on her own page.
Right.
Which is attack people personally and just use profanities and, just nasty comments and yet you can't even upload a single phrase without her approval. Hypocrisy at its best.
Well, right,
because the lunacy is real.
because adults should be allowed to act like adults, right? I mean, this is the thing I think people forget about social media. If you don't like something that you see, you can keep scrolling. And if someone chooses to engage with the post, then let them have that engagement. You don't want, blatant racism going on or anything like that, because it reflects badly on the community as a whole. But people are adults. And one of the things that drove me crazy, just even during the campaign, is if I said anything that was even perceived as slightly negative towards someone, I would get a lecture about how that's not becoming of someone running for office. And finally, I'd had enough of it and said, hey, I'm a human being too, and I'm entitled to my feelings. Why is it that we protect everybody else, but we don't protect me? It's kind of going on even right now. Her husband is engaging with me on the open forum, and then someone has to jump in and go.
Yes.
He's like, this woman jumps in there. You sound so juvenile. Well, you know what? It's your opinion. That's your opinion. But just because it's your opinion doesn't mean everyone else has to listen to what your opinion is.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's funny because the dude trolling you in the open forum is definitely the same dude who publicly announced that he screws his wife in between posts.
I forgot about that.
Let's be real now. That is the class of person you are currently being trolled by.
Yeah. So what do you think, Gina, about the way that adults are treated on the other group? Do you think they're treated like adults or not?
Absolutely not. And, the way she runs her page is like dictatorship, fastest dictatorship. I mean, she will delete your post so fast and give you a lecture and kick you out. I mean, are we in kindergarten? Seriously, that's this is ridiculous. You can't even have an opinion. At least, you know what? Correction, you could have an opinion as long as it coincides and it's saying her opinion. As long as you agree with her, your opinion is fine. But if it goes against her opinion, then you are wrong and you deserve to be punished by getting a lecture from her, which, is pretty nasty, private messages, and get kicked out. So, I mean, that's really interesting.
Yeah, it's I don't know if you know the story, but probably it was right around election time, last election. So I guess it was 2 years ago.
2016.
Yeah, it was 2 years ago. And someone posted on the group that they had heard that where the Kohl's used to be on Valley View, that there was going to be a marijuana growing facility. And
oh gosh,
somebody jumped in there, and it was obviously a joke, but someone jumped in there and said, that's ridiculous. How can that happen? And then of course she had to jump in and say something. And then they said, well, we're banning this person because they don't have a profile picture. But they did have a profile picture. It was just one of those pictures where you put your photo and it kind of draws a little cartoony character of you. And so I said, hey, you removed that person because they don't have a profile picture, but you're wrong. They have a profile picture. And I posted a picture of their profile picture. And then the other admin literally told me that I could either shut up or be removed. And so, being who I am, I said, you know what? I could live without your group. I could live with your group. It really doesn't matter to me. Do what you want to do. He immediately removed me from the group. And so then I posted on the open forum that, hey, the moment when you disagree with the admin and you get deleted because you just said someone had a profile picture. Well, that led to a private message exchange, and I did a search for fascist dictator, and I sent him a photo. And he blew up about it and turned it into, I had called him Hitler. And so another community member challenged him to prove that I called him Hitler. And so he refused to post the messages. So I asked him for permission to post the messages, and he gave it to me. I posted the entire message thread, and everyone, without a doubt, said he did not call you Hitler. Well, this 2 years later, and they're still talking about the time that I called them Hitler.
Wow.
So I think
you know what? They obviously, obviously heard it from someone else as well. So someone else, not you, but someone else, and they are accusing you because they are already hurt by other people calling them that name. I highly doubt that we are the only ones calling them fascist dictators, and I'm pretty positive that other people have called them a lot of, worse names. So, I mean,
Mike, you instigator, you.
well, but it's true. There's a lot of people who have said a lot worse things, and they're obviously very sensitive about it. I'm not one who, unfortunately, I don't usually keep my feelings in. It's just pretty much how it is. And I try to be as polite as possible, but it kind of comes down to this. The more polite you are to me, the more polite I am to you. And that's the way it is. And the less polite you are to me, the less polite I am to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sorry. You left the end part off of your story about how you got banned. Promptly after they kicked you out, they kicked out me. And I said, literally nothing. Not a single word, not a single comment. I didn't even like your comment.
Yeah.
That was enough.
I forgot about that.
With the shoe. Straight to the butt. Kicked out of the group.
Wow. Didn't one other lady on your page got kicked out for just commenting on your page?
Yes.
Yes. She shared. Yeah. I mean, what? So are they paying people? I mean, like, I would not be surprised if they're actually paying people to, just spy. I mean, who has enough time to spy on every other page? And this is getting ridiculous.
Well, right.
I've never heard of a family.
I heard an interesting thing today. I got a private message from the admin of the Cypress Community Open Forum. And if you'll recall, I know you saw this, the crazy lady posted this whole long bogus tirade about me that was allegedly her opinion, but she essentially she edited a bunch of comments and turned them into lies. And then the admin not only removed her post, but he also removed her from the group for being obnoxious. Well, he tells me today that he was removed from the other community group and wanted to know if I knew why.
Wow.
And I said, well, it's because that lady, the crazy lady that you removed, is best friends with the other admin's sister. Now, this is what goes on. You have a family, a whole entire family that they think that they run the city. And unfortunately for them, I mean, I don't say this very much, but I'm in close contact with a lot of the city council members and a lot of the school board members. I've even been approached in public by a school board member who told me, I appreciate you because you're the only one on that forum who's honest about the situations that go on. Well, what happens is they go around talking about how the police department loves her and all this stuff, and it's not true. They basically, they gave her a little paper award because they want to recognize her, quote, efforts, end quote. But the reality is that they don't really care. They just don't care.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean, wow.
And then people like you are innocent, and like Victoria, they're innocent, and you get booted. Okay, granted, like in my case, I defended someone. They didn't like that. They told me to shut up, and then I proceeded to say, I'm not going to shut up. Go ahead and kick me out. All right, so maybe I deserve to get kicked out. Whatever. I don't even care. I never looked back. But you guys didn't do anything to deserve being kicked out. Although I suppose you defended someone too, Gina, and that probably got under their skin because, how dare you not listen to what they think.
Not listen and attack this poor lady and everything about her post.
Right.
as opposed to actually saying, oh, let's hear what she has to say. Maybe she has a valid point. But no, I crossed the line with that one. Yeah.
So how would you handle a group like that differently? How would you handle it differently if you were running that group?
I mean, unless someone's blatantly using profanities and just unless someone's intention is to offend others. I mean, if they have a point, then why should you have to mediate any of the comments or delete or you just leave those comments alone? You're not hurting, or we're not hurting anyone else. We're just saying we just want to get into discussion and hear other people out instead of. I mean, I don't know how that is not allowed.
Yeah,
page.
I agree with you. It's why when we started, first of all, the name of our group is the Real Cypress Community Group, and it's that way. And it's that way for a reason. We want real community. We don't want, some fake community. And here's the thing: if you open a new restaurant in town, and we go to your restaurant and the service is absolutely terrible, we're probably not going to say anything. But if we come back a second time and the service is still absolutely terrible, and we talk to you about it and you basically blow us off, why shouldn't we be allowed to go on a forum and say, hey, beware, we went to this place and this happened? It doesn't make any sense that you can't share that with the community. And yet if you did that, you'd be chastised and probably kicked out. We decided that basically our only rule, and I'll give you a clue, we worded it a certain way so we would have the final authority over whether someone stays or goes. We said, if you purposely make someone butthurt, then we can kick you out. And what we really do is we try to take somebody who's maybe pushing the envelope, and we try to tone them down a little bit and say, hey, don't cuss, or you know what, don't post about that topic. It's too sensitive right now. It's too soon. But we purposely avoid trying to control what people do. And we want it to be a community. I mean, that's why the word community is in the name of the group. And I feel like you can't have a community if you can't be an adult.
True.
And how can you, and I don't know about you, but I don't have somebody walking around with me all day telling me what I'm allowed to do and what I'm not allowed to do. And that's where
you're married.
And that's where the lack of acting like an adult comes into play. Like, I totally don't understand the attitude. I just don't get it. So I'm sorry that you. I'm just glad you're at our group now, because you'll never be treated that way in our group. That just doesn't happen.
Yeah. And I was very happy to find your group, because instantly when I got kicked out, I instantly thought, wow, I should make a new Facebook page for Cyprus, not knowing that there were a whole lot more other pages. And of course, and then I thought to myself, wait a minute, I'm pretty sure that I'm not the first one to be treated this way by this lady. There's no way. So sure enough, I searched and there were other groups. And and other people have shared their story, and which sounds very similar to all of our stories. So I'm very happy to be part of this group where there are our own opinions, without obviously trying to offend others, but we are allowed to have opinions.
Well, and isn't that like we talked about this during the last election, and it's a very common thing you see on Facebook. People don't agree with you, and you're on the opposite side of them on an issue, so they block you. But when you think about it, if you did that to everybody who disagreed with you, the only people you'd be listening to are people who agree with you. And how much are you going to learn if only thing you read is opinions that are yours? And why bother?
Yes.
And that's, to me, like,
yes.
I'm a very open-minded person for the most part. I'm opinionated. I mean, I'm 53 years old. I've been around a while on this planet. And so there's things that I've just decided are this way. And nobody can change my mind. But the best part about it is that I'm not the kind of person that says, well, I think that because I think that. I'll tell you why I think that. I'll give you the examples of why. Like we always say that there's a segment of society that gets it. You're part of that. And then there's a segment of society that are kind of a little bit clueless. And when people say to me, well, that's kind of mean, then I say, okay, so tell me about the person who there's a trash can 2 feet over here and they throw their trash on the ground. What does that tell you about that person? They don't really get it. Or the people who have to chime in on something and say, don't say that. You shouldn't say that. And then the next thing, they're not realizing that they're telling you what to do, and like they'll call you a bully, but yet by silencing you, they're being a bully. And so I get this. I feel like there's certain groups of people who understand that we should be allowed to have our opinion, and we can agree to disagree. We can even agree on part of what is said. But the problem is, there's just that group of people, they don't grasp that, and they want to fight on it, and they want to wield power over you. And that's what I really see. I see someone who thinks they're very powerful. Why else would you mention what a great citizen you are of the city and how much time you put into the group? I can tell you,
like every day.
It doesn't take any time at all, because whether they want you to understand this or not, now they actually made their job harder by turning on post approvals, because they're getting notifications of every comment. Who cares?
Oh, my goodness. They really have nothing better to do, really, than screen everyone's post. Really?
Literally nothing.
Wow.
So,
well, I guess I envy their lifestyle then. I mean, if you really have nothing else better to do, I envy you. If the money is just flowing in automatically, wow.
Yeah, can I have that kind of lifestyle? I mean, I admin a Cypress community group. Does that mean I get like a 6-figure income just for adminning the group now? Like, come on now.
Gosh.
Where is
we
it?
could all dream.
Paycheck.
Not until you get Citizens of the Year award. See, that's what has to happen first.
Oh, shit. That's never gonna happen.
So I'm gonna throw you guys a curveball, okay? And I'm gonna put Gina on the spot a little bit. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna throw this out there. So, hotly contested thing that caused a lot of people to jump on my back was Measure A. How did you feel about Measure A?
You know what? Honestly, I don't know enough about it. I did read your post, but I am not a very political, like, especially when it comes to Cyprus. Like, I was kind of clueless even after reading it. But you know what? You made some very valid points. So you did persuade me. So,
okay.
I mean, now I would say I agree with Measure A, because before then I just didn't have an opinion about Measure A. But now, listening to some of your posts, you posted a video recording of you explaining it at I don't know if it was a city hall meeting, whatnot. And then there were some posts with the charts. I mean, those were very informative. So, I mean, now I do support it. Whereas before, I was just neutral.
Well, and that's the thing. We found out last time that a lot of misinformation gets sent out there. And like, there's a particular guy who goes around talking about how the land is going to go up 5 times in value, and why are we giving the owner that? But see, and then he calls it public land. But I asked him a question and he couldn't answer it. So I answered it for him. And the question was, if you jump the fence, you and your wife, and you go and have a picnic lunch out in the middle of the grass there, and their security sees you, I have 3 words what's going to happen: arrested for trespassing. So it can't be public land if you can be arrested for trespassing. And that was literally the only argument against the measure. And I'm thankful that it passed, and it passed by a big margin.
Yes.
Which means,
what was it, like 63%?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it means the voters didn't fall for the lies that were being spread. And that's one of the big things that always concerns me is, like, okay, I'll say this because I kind of got a sense, and I could be totally wrong, but never, ever, 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 ever be embarrassed to say, you know what, I didn't know anything about that measure, and so you know what, I decided not to even vote on it at all. Because the reality is, in my opinion, if you're voting, you need to know what you're voting for, and if you don't, you shouldn't cast a vote on it, because otherwise you're giving someone else an extra vote. And that's what too many people in our society do. They listen to their next door neighbor, their mom, their dad, their brother, their sister, their husband, and then they vote the way those people say. And like our doctor told us a story today that was kind of cute, but at the same time, it irked me a little bit that someone would literally copy their spouse's ballot. That's just giving that person way too much power, if you ask me. And, one vote, one person's probably a good idea. But my main thing has always been, I try not to tell people how to vote. I try to tell them to investigate and then vote once they're understanding all of the issues. I can tell you, looking at my own vote results, there's plenty of precincts where they didn't know any of the three of us, so they just didn't vote. And I'm okay with that, because if you don't know who I am and you don't know what I stand for, why are you voting for me? Doesn't make any sense to me. So I just thought I'd throw that out there just to see, because that's the other big controversial thing in the city. And anyway, you have anything to add, Victoria?
Well, I kind of just wanted to add, I was just casually browsing through the rules of the other special group, and I came across the very first one that says, no negative opinions allowed. So I just wanted to, if there's a new business in the city of Cypress and it's absolute shit, absolute shit, not saying that I've encountered any that are, just saying in a hypothetical situation, why am I not allowed to warn people that this business is absolute shit? Seriously.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I mean, I remember a post about a car wash that would dent people's cars or scratch up their. I mean, yes, I would like to know about those. I mean, that's informative. That's not negative. But I think I don't know. I think it got deleted as well. But
right, because you don't want to take your
I don't know what
there.
their standards. Yeah.
Yeah. Anything.
I think we're.
Like that gets deleted. Anything like that gets deleted because she thinks it creates negativity. But I think what she's missing is that entire attitude creates negativity.
Yes. I mean, think about it. I was a very new person before this happened to me. And, if I don't know you, I am not going to be rude to you. Yet she just had to push me over the edge. And now I have no problem talking behind her back and, commenting on her behaviors. And I was, if you meet me, I'm a pleasant person. But, if you cross me the wrong way, yeah, I will speak out. And she had to go an extra step to just go over the edge and be extra rude to me on private message, which I didn't think I deserved, or I definitely didn't deserve.
Nobody deserves that.
So, I mean, now, I'm very outspoken. I mean, I have a roommate and I share my story, and guess what? You'll be surprised. Even the people who don't speak out, everyone knows how she is. Everyone. They're all looking back, reading, the posts, and everyone knows how she is, even if they don't speak out. So.
And the only people who are done are the people that we now officially believe she's paying money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with you that somebody's getting paid. They have to be, because it's just way too weird that people would have the kind of time they have to. I mean, that crazy lady that went that day and kept commenting, that was one thing. But then to take the time to meticulously edit out things so that you don't really have any context about what's being said. We talked about this the other day, and we said, if you made some really bad comment that was mixed in with some good comments, and someone took all the good comments out and only dropped the bad comment in, well, without the context of what you were talking about, you could look like a real jerk. And that's exactly what they were attempting to do. And, unfortunately, they've also stepped over the line when it comes to the law. And I'm not very nice when it comes to people mistreating me like that. So let's just say I've already started the process of taking care of that. So we'll see how much more
for you.
Speak out and mistreat people like that. So, but anyway, anything else to add? Because if not, I think we're ready to close up the show. I really appreciate you being on the show, though. Like I said, we wanted different opinions about this situation, and we may do a couple more like this. And we definitely, I got to say, I think we should all try to get together and have coffee or something sometime and meet in person.
Definitely.
We've met a lot of really wonderful people through local Facebook groups, and you seem like a really nice person. So we always
thank you. You too.
We always say thank you. We always say there's people who are our people and people who are not, and it's okay if you're not. But the people who are, we like to keep them close and be friends with them. So we'll have to arrange that. And now you have
awesome.
And now you have my cell phone number, and I have yours. So anytime you need anything, just reach out.
All right, great. Sounds good.
And I live in the same house as him, so.
Do you?
I figured.
Do you?
Apparently.
You mean you
At
don't?
least once in a while.
You mean you're not paying me?
No. But I was accused of that recently.
Oh gosh, that was I remember that thread. Oh goodness gracious, yeah.
It was special, very special.
All right then. Well, I guess we'll do our usual ending then, honey. So, how about it?
Well, good night, everyone.
And hasta la bye-bye, everybody.
Hi, everyone. This is Mike, and I truly hope you enjoyed this show. You're able to subscribe to this show on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher so as to never miss an episode. If by chance you did miss an episode here or there, you can catch up on all shows, past and present, by heading over to yogispodcastnetwork.com/TNR show. Thanks for listening.